I mean, the preparation going into the Seattle match was like just kind of normal, just like any other match, you know, like watch some VOD, make sure we're preparing of like, you know, what they're probably going to veto, what they're not going to veto, and just like kind of just getting ready for the map picks and stuff. And then we kind of knew exactly what map set we were going to play. So leading up, we were just making sure in scrims we were going hard and obviously getting like the reps that we needed to on the maps that we're going to play just to be ready for the match.
Nice time there. Over to P2. We have Celium working inside, plays his life, and well, that is what he does so well in this league. Just finds that multi-kill.
All right, so first map was Karachi Hardpoint. That's obviously one of the more maps that we're confident in. We've played it in just about every series, I think, so far. I would say it probably was the best that we've played it out of all the matches so far. I think people finally saw like what we can actually do on that map when we're playing our best, and I still don't even think that we were playing our best. I think the first P3 we kind of messed up where they broke us, but I also think that we ended up breaking them on the second P3, so it kind of evened out. So yeah, it was a pretty convincing one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like Karachi's been like our best map, like, you know, in the sense of like just matches we got to play it a lot. But at the same time, we've been like, you know, making little mistakes here and there. I think we played that one much cleaner. But yeah, dude, if we were able to hold that first P3, I think that could have got really bad, like really bad for them too. So yeah, we know little mistakes here and there, but we definitely evened it out. But we're just trying to just make sure we stay ahead with our kills and just keep getting better and better.
So second map in the series was High Rise S&D. I'd say in practice that's probably been one of our better searches. The only thing that was going to be weird about playing for the first time in a match was how slow or fast it was going to play. Because a lot of the times when you play in scrims, like the rounds kind of last like about like 30-45 seconds sometimes. Like you kind of just like run it down half the time.
Start from underground. You want to go through towards A, but it looks like it's going to be a B hitting through the smoke. Hook, Sim, they're going to trade, but if BZ's going to make this a 1-on-2, he pops up from the ladder, has 2 free kills.
I think off the rip, we were kind of playing slower than what we normally do, and we found ourselves in hole down 4-1. Then we finally started doing some plays that we always do in scrims, and it started to look a little bit better. But we're going to look at that one and clean some stuff up for sure. But yeah.
And the next map, you know, just talking about like the next two, I guess, is just like, yeah, like the Karachi Control. And then, of course, we had, what's it called? Invasion Hardpoint. Those are maps too that we've been trying to get like reps on in practice and just make sure that we can just like be correct. Karachi Control is a map that can kind of spiral out of control. You can find yourself in a spawn trap pretty badly on your offenses if you don't do it right and you don't play the map right. So we're just trying to make sure we played like the smaller situations or the micro situations just like better to avoid that, and then obviously try and capitalize on offense when we get those kills, and that's kind of exactly what we did. So it felt good on that. And then, you know, the Invasion Hardpoint, same thing. I truly think if a BZ didn't jump off the staircase in the last P4, that the Broken Hill, that we could have closed it out there, and then Seattle actually capitalized on us making like that like just small mishap.
There were multiple players, not just Sim. But now eclipsing the 200-point mark, it is FaZe. 50 points to go now for the win. Let's see if they can break through. Not going to happen. Illy's just, I felt like he's pre-fired to BZ through the window. BZ barely got to the top of the ladder and he was dead.
Honestly, the boys, you know, just kind of iced up and just played it well. But I was super happy with how our guys performed in the match, just overall with all the VOD and stuff that we've been watching, just like fixing the mistakes that we've been doing. So overall, yeah, those two maps were in our favor. I was happy about them, and, you know, I just took it from there.
Yeah, I'd say to add to the Invasion Hardpoint, like these are like smaller things, but even like I think both of the P2s, we were probably like one ego chow or one kill or one person not dying away
it's
from
also
like
a little teamwork in there.
yeah, from making that palace in the end not even matter, which like we obviously got to go back and watch, but that's all just small stuff. And yeah, what he said, the P4 that we got broke on.
Yeah, that was tough. But yeah, we saw some little teamwork in there, here and there on some of those chows, and we can clean up little things. But that's, you know, those are going to happen here in matches. It's just a part of being a player, so figure it out. I think Seattle's what we expected, to be honest with you. We knew that it's not like, you know, it was just an absolute, like, you know, crazy-ass 3-1 in the respawns. Like, they played some of the maps close and stuff, so it was a good match. It's just Seattle's a team that I feel it was, like, super underrated going into this season. A lot of people had a lot of just negative things to say about this roster, and then when they started playing scrims and stuff, they started proving people wrong here and there. And, you know, we definitely didn't take them lightly, so we definitely kind of expected the Seattle that showed up into that match to be as good as they were. I mean, I think walking into series, we're always going to expect to win, especially when we play our best. So, I mean, we're still going to be confident, but at the same time, we knew like this is going to be a really good team that we play.
Yeah, probably so far going into every match, like we probably expected Seattle to be the best, maybe them or Thieves, but Seattle's been looking like they've been looking really good in practice, to be honest, versus everybody. Like they're definitely like a top 4 team in my eyes right now. So
I feel like we learned some lessons, probably mainly on the map that we lost. You know, very obvious answers in the high rise. I feel like we could have adapted and kind of set the tone a little bit earlier in that search and destroy, and just like overall, just like the lesson learned is like we saw a lot of the stuff that like we watched in VOD like leading up to this match like kind of go correctly in this match. Like, you know, a lot of the stuff that we watched and prepared for, we played very well. Like the mistakes that we were kind of trying to work on in scrims, like we fixed them in the match and we did the right plays. And we saw like how that put us in such advantageous positions to win these maps like in a dominant fashion if, you know, we had a little bit more teamwork in like these little situations here and there. So I think the biggest lesson is just like, you know, when we're playing the game at a good pace and like controlling the tempo of the game, like how good we can really be. And like, you know, it really opens our eyes to like, you know, how much better we can be if we keep like getting just like slightly better at some of the smaller stuff in game. What do you think, Coach RJ? Are we taking any time off or what, dude?
Maybe Christmas Day. Yeah, I mean probably Christmas Day or Christmas Eve day and New Year's, but yeah, I know like there's a bunch of teams in the league where people have players traveling home and stuff. They're probably gonna be taking like about a 2-week break or something like that. I know there's gonna be a few teams trying to play, but I know since I believe on the next split we're playing on the new patch. I think getting all those reps that you can before teams get back and actually start grinding it like is pretty key. You
know, well, it's funny because our players, I'm pretty sure when we asked about the days off, I think the response was like maybe like maybe a few, like maybe the couple hours during Christmas Day, like I won't be available, but other than that I'll be ready. It's like they were ready to play like right away, but yeah, we'll probably take, you know, your normal days off that you can, but I don't think we're going to take any extras just because what RJ said, the new patch and the new spawns and everything else that we need to learn, like that stuff's important. Like we started off 3-0 and it's cool, but like now a lot of those spawns are behind us. We got to learn how to, you know, approach some of these hills and maps just a little differently. I think sub base specifically like changed a lot, and then also terminal changed a lot too. So we're gonna have to figure out some of these maps and just make sure that we can obviously keep learning, right? So we're gonna take days off to like let ourselves reset, you know, and relax with family. But when the players are ready to go, so are we, and we'll be right back in the lab.
Well, I don't even know if we could say this, but if only you guys got to see sub base pre-patch.
Yeah, I guess we can say that realistically.
You guys would have saw about 1,050,000 bombs getting dropped. That's 1 by 150.
I'll say that. Yeah, our favorite map to mode was sub base hardpoint before the spawns changed. Now that the spawns change and stuff, it doesn't matter that we say we're good at that map because like whatever. But yeah, sub base hardpoint before the spawn change was by far beyond our best map. That was a fun map to watch in scrims for sure. They play the game 8 to 10 hours a day. They are in the same situation 8 to 10 hours a day over and over and over with the spawns on every single hill. And then before and after scrims and during scrims, like most pro players, coaches, teams, staff, and everything are also watching the VOD of what happens when you push this and like what happens when the other team pushes that. Like that is just hours and hours and hours of spawn analyzation and being in the situations just to like, you know, learn it quickly.
Knowing what can happen here.
And then like the more you get used to like Call of Duty in general, like dating back all the way like years and years ago, like usually the spawns are pretty like they become like pretty consistent throughout the years. Like obviously games have better spawns than others, but you know, when you're on this area of the map, generally speaking, the team will probably spawn on this area of the map is kind of like, you know, the general sense. And then the more you obviously analyze it, learn it, and, you know, learn the ins and outs, like you kind of get it to the exact, you know, points in time. But I mean, yeah, that's just hours and hours and hours of VOD gameplay and all that stuff, man. The IGL, yeah, I was gonna say like the IGL of the team should, in my opinion, never just be one guy. That's kind of what we're trying to go with this year in a sense. Like obviously there's going to be people that are more vocal than others, but when you have a player that's in the scrap time of an old till, right, and the other 3 are trying to figure out like how they want to approach this break or this rotation, like if your IGL is out of the play hypothetically, the other 3 can't just have no brain, you know, like they have to be able to like think for themselves. So it's like I think all 4 of the players having input and being able to speak up in a moment is really important. So with our team, like, you know, I think in the moment right now in our comms, like Draza does do a lot of calling out for us and like what we need to do. But then like I've heard the other 3, BZ Simp and Cellium, like all have moments where it's like, yo, we should break from here, like, or yo, like let's push tunnel fast, like, you know, like just like things like that where it's just you have to like kind of think on the fly.
I need him on bomb.
Yeah, by bomb.
I can't.
Yo, he's on your close. Close up. He's on your close. Nice.
Tank. No shot, tank, bro.
Got a chance to make the play. Chance potentially
I'm good.
That's
for
Let's go,
Chris. Oh my god, Chris.
Oh my
Bro, how the
god.
fuck did I just die, bro?
Let's get 4 then.
If you don't have a team that all 4 players can do that or understand that, like, I think you're going to fall behind. So we've been really working on just making sure all 4 of our guys are understanding how to play COD on the same page. So when they call something, everyone just understands it. And then, yeah, so I don't think we have, like, one IGL. And then I think in practice, like, the same thing. Like, I think all of them are going so hard this year and they're so dedicated, whereas, like, they kind of all lead each other. Like, I've heard all 4 of them give tips and stuff to each other of like, yo, like, we need to do this and that better. So I feel like it's just a collective effort.
Yeah, even on top of that, like, just this is more so it's like teamwork and all that stuff. But like, ever since picking up Zach, I kind of say this to Crowder every day, but like the team that we have with Zach right now, like, I don't know how it happened, but it's like some of the most natural teamwork that I've ever seen, like, have a team have. Like, there's just so many situations that they just go up on a break or whatever, and they're just always like with each other, not even like having to comment. Like, it's definitely nice to watch, but obviously, like, yeah, when you gotta calm stuff and be an IGL, you just gotta do it. But
yeah, the natural pacing of the team right now is definitely fitting really well. And then, like, that's always going to be a thing, I think, with every roster in the CDL. Like, natural pacing will always exist. And then, of course, you can get better and worse of, like, trying to make it work with your teammates and stuff. But, yeah, no, I think just in general, just being able to all four players need to understand how to play Call of Duty. And, like, if you can all get them all on the same page, which is, like, the hardest thing, I think, at any CDL team, that's, like, where you really start to shine. I feel like it's just, like, you know, it's just keeping composed. Like, these guys they've been competing for a long time. They're all very experienced. And like through the worst moments of your career and like the worst losses and all that stuff, like, usually that teaches you a lot, you know. And our guys have been together for a long time, and we've been through like ups and downs together. And then, of course, even before this team forms, you know, they've gone through it. So their experience of being able to stay composed just as people in general is really important. But then, like, also, like, I'm a big believer, and like, we're big believers in the, like, the mental edge of stuff, like, you know, like sports psychology and making sure you stay composed and all that stuff. So, like, whether it's, some people are all different, right? Like, some people, you know, deep breathing, breath exercises and stuff like that actually do help a lot of players, where some players that doesn't work for them, and like, just like, you know, getting their mind off it or talking about something that has nothing to do with Call of Duty sometimes also helps you get your mind off stuff too. So it just really depends on like what happened in the scenario of like why someone were to be tilted, and then like you kind of react from there of just like, you know, knowing the players and your guys. But for the most part, they're pretty experienced where they stay composed on their own. And then, of course, if things go haywire, you know, you got to do what you got to do. But
yeah, they've been in like every single scenario you can literally be in. They've O2 came back, fucking like O2 came back from Control like at the same time. Like, they've blown to 2-0. Like, they've made the crazy comebacks. People make crazy comebacks on them. So like they've been in every scenario you could possibly think of. So
yeah, the wise words of Ted Lasso, dude. The goldfish memory. But seriously, it's just trying to practice that like day in and day out. It's like to really like understand that the only thing that you can control is like what's in front of you, right? Like, you know, you blow a map and you're like tilted, like that's in the past, and that's what you got to practice, right? That is in the past. It doesn't matter. Like, let's practice on what we can control right now, and let's focus on what we can control right now, and that's winning the next map. So everything else is in the past, and we'll talk about that later. So we usually don't dwell on things, and we make sure that's a big thing too. I'd say that's like my one thing, like, as a coach, is like going on stage. If we're still talking about the 7 mistakes that we just made in the last map of like why we're down 1-2 or 0-1 or it's tied up, like, that shit doesn't matter, bro. Stop talking about like what went wrong right there and just focus on like, all right, let's like, you know, lock in, regain. How are we gonna win this next map? And that about wraps it up for the Coach's Corner, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, we will see you in the next Coach's Corner. FaZe up.